What's up, guys? We're on the California Delta today. We're doing hard jerkbait versus soft jerkbait. That's right, a fluke style bait versus a hard one. There's a lot of differences between the two, but I commonly get asked the question, should I throw a soft jerkbait or should I throw a hard jerkbait? So today I'm doing a 4-hour challenge. I'm gonna go back and forth, 30 minutes per bait, 30 minutes per bait, and then back to the other one, and I'm gonna explain where I would, where I wouldn't, and we're gonna see which one gets bit more throughout the day. Should be fun. Right now I'm running around searching out birds. If I see birds, I know there's bait fish around, and these are bait fish presentations, so let's get it going. So I'm throwing a monster bass jerkbait that I got in the Lucky Tackle box. Actually, the majority of the stuff I'm throwing today is probably all came from the Lucky Tackle box, except one or two things. And I'm throwing that on a Sticks, the hybrid stick. This is a medium power. It's almost medium heavy. It will throw your lighter lures and your bigger lures, and it's got just a really soft tip and a really nice backbone that goes into there, to where it really gives you like a variety of stuff. This is a 7-foot. This is a seven foot rod here. Woo! I just got hit through my concentration off, and I'm throwing on 12. Whoa! Striper right at the boat. I knew something hit me hard. Something hit me hard, which threw my concentration off, and he came back to get it. But I'm throwing it on a 12-pound tactical fluorocarbon. More of like a limp fluorocarbon, kind of the best of both worlds versus like a mono versus fluorocarbon. It's a little bit softer. It has a little bit more stretch, so it's not like for flipping, you know, and short line, heavy hook sets. But for reaction baits and longer cast, it's nice. It's limp. It doesn't tangle up easy. And it's perfect for jerkbaits. Absolutely perfect for jerkbaits or spinning reels. So that was the first bite. We're about 5 minutes into the hard jerkbait, and then I'm gonna switch over to the soft. Right here, this is just a rock jetty sticking out on the main San Joaquin deep water channel right here. We seen birds on it, stopped, started throwing. Second or third cast got hit by a striper, so that's a good sign. Those stripers get in there and they fire up those largemouths, so hopefully they'll trigger a big one and eat my jerkbait. The nice part about this first spot that I stopped on, it's not a grassy area. It's just rocks and open water, to where that hard jerkbait, this monster bass one, gets down about 3 or 4 feet, and I'm stopping and I'm suspending and using drawing power. We got about 3 or 4 foot of visibility right here, and the shallow water is just too shallow. It's a super gradual taper, to where if the largemouth are gonna be out, they're gonna be out on this pile of rocks, to where those exposed treble hooks not getting me in harm's way. If we had heavier grass, that fluke style bait with the Texas rig is gonna be much more beneficial. Okay, we got fish on. It is a baby striper. This is early fall on the Delta. A lot of stripers come in. We're at the end of September right now. I have a feeling we're going to deal with a lot of these today, but hey, a fish is a fish, and it's about when and where to use this. When you have a jerkbait and a striper, be very, very cautious. They shake around and jump so much. Take the tension, the stretch out of your line. If you have stretch in your line and you go to pull the hook free and a striper is shaking, it's going to flick that bait at you. You don't want a bunch of little treble hook points stuck in your arm or neck and have to call your day early because of it, so be safe. First little largie. Here we go. There's one for the hard bait. He went for it head first. He got that red hook in the mouth. I like that when there's a red hook in the front, right behind the head. What fish see is red is very neutral to them when they're beyond 10 feet, but when they come up close and they see red, the only thing that's red on 90% of fish is their gill plates, which means their back is turned to a predator species. If they see red, the predator species is aware. In my opinion, that's what I think they think it is, that fish's back is turned, and it's a perfect time to ambush them. Now, the reason why I selected this color here, it's not a translucent, it's not a solid color. Solid colors is what I like for, you know, a real standout color in dirty water. I like translucent when it's really clean water and really clean skies, like clear skies. But today we're having a lot of intermittent cloud cover. We only have about 3 to 4 visibility, sometimes less than 3. So a slightly painted finish right there is going to create just enough focal point to still look real and still get those fish to trigger on it. Like I said, I would go with like a pure white or a black if the water was dirtier and in colder. But in this situation, we're dealing with water in the mid 70s, so I could still move my bait relatively fast. The metabolism of a bass is really good when the water's in the 70s, so that just seemed like an all-around good choice for me. All right, jumping to another spot as we are running birds. Our birds cleared out. I'm gonna run up the channel, look for more birds. Let's see what happens. All right, guys, that's 30 minutes with the hard bait. I am switching over to the soft jerk bait. I'm gonna be throwing the bigger one at first. I have a variety of jerk baits that I'm gonna switch through and a variety of soft plastic baits that I'm gonna switch through. This is like the standard size fluke right here. That's the Scorpitel made by Biwa. So I'm throwing that bait on my hybrid spin stick. This is another Sticks fishing rod. And I'm throwing it on 8-pound tactical fluorocarbon. That's that same line I was talking about, but just a lot lighter. I have 6-pound tight on my finesse stick, and then 8-pound tight on this one. The finesse stick, I have a smaller fluke. It's the junior size actual fluke. It's a Zoom fluke, and I have that rigged up on a 1/0. And this size right here, this is on a 3/0, and these are the Mustad Ultra Bite light wire EWG. Those are extra wide gap EWG hooks. The light wire is when I'm throwing it on spinning rod. If I was throwing a heavy diameter hook, I could throw it on my bait caster and the fluke would fall a little bit faster. All right, guys, so I'm getting ready to run to another spot, but I wanted to go over how I'm retrieving these baits. With a soft jerk bait, a fluke style bait, I like to just twitch it and let it drift, twitch it and let it drift. Much longer pauses between your twitch. Every now and then you can do that little double tap and then hesitate again. So with these lighter setups like this, the more I twitch it, the more it's gonna wanna stay near to the surface. And I'll show you, I'll cast it just real close, right in front of the boat for you. And the more I twitch it, the more it's gonna wanna stay near the surface, like that. It's gonna twitch up and occasionally stay higher in the water column. That's really cool. If you see shad fleeing or bait fish being chased by bass or stripers or what have you, that retrieve, immediately start twitching it fast. When it hits the surface, it's going to get a lot of catches for you, because the soft plastic jerk bait will jump out of the surface where a hard one will not. So when something's actually hitting the surface, it's breaking up the light penetration and it always looks more real. If fish are willing to take off the surface, you should work your bait on the surface and you'll, on average, I promise you, even with a smaller bait, get much bigger than average fish. That hard jerk bait, you can't keep it up on the surface, so only the soft jerk bait gives you that option. With the hard jerk bait, I'm twitching once, let it pause, twitch, twitch, let it pause, twitch 3 times, let it pause. But if I see active fish in the area, sometimes I'll just keep ripping to force them to react. As long as it's jumping back and forth, if a big fish can be selective, if he's on his own, that pausing is going to get you that bigger bite. In the wintertime, the pausing is going to get you the bigger bite. Early in the fall like this, if you see active fish busting or shad jumping, keep ripping it, pause, pause, rip it real hard, and you're going to trigger a bigger than average fish as well.
Got him?
Yeah. Little guy. There we go. On that soft plastic jerkbait. Got us a striper. Got a couple of big stripers roaming around over here. This is that 6-pound fluorocarbon. This is that junior fluke. I seen a big bust just before this guy grabbed it. Got me excited. That's what I thought I had, but that's okay. Hopefully we'll get one. Good fighter though. Another striper. I'm having fun with it. I'll tell you that much right now. I am having fun with it. This one might be a keeper. We'll see. He's close on that soft jerkbait once again. There's a keeper. Probably a 18, 19 inch fish. Not bad. And that soft jerkbait. Although I think the hard jerkbait right here would probably be catching them just as good. I'm getting a lot of misses. Where on the treble hooks from the hard jerkbait, they wouldn't be missing as often. But the downside at the same time, when you hook a striper on a jerkbait that has multiple treble hooks, they're very difficult to take off versus a single hook to get through them faster. When the largemouth are in there feeding with them, it could be less effective because you're spending so much time taking them off the hooks. Time's up for the soft jerk bait. Back to the hard bait. That didn't take but the second it hit the water, instantly. Guys, here's a great example of where a hard jerk bait is gonna get outfished by a soft Texas rig jerk bait. You look at these toolies right here. I can kind of pick a lane, but this bait is diving. I can really just get it up to the outside, maybe 1 or 2 pops and hang it right there. But a Texas rig fluke soft jerk bait, I could skip back through there and work it right through those toolies all the way out. So a lot of these big bass are gonna be buried up into these toolie berms right here and these big walls of toolies, and this exposed hook jerk bait is not gonna fish nearly as effectively. And the same goes if we're on just open rock bank. This jerk bait right here, if one takes a swipe at it, we're gonna hook them, versus where a Texas rig, we didn't need it to be Texas rigged. Because we didn't need that weedless ability because we're going through open water. So you can see there's pros and cons to both. So if someone says they're eating a jerkbait, maybe you should bring both. So you can see this little junior fluke right here is Texas rigged. I can easily fire this into the toolies just on a spinning rod. Just skip it or cast it right through. As long as your line's low to the water, it's going to go through and it's going to get in and around those toolies. This is 6-pound line. I wouldn't recommend doing this on the Delta unless you're very used to light line. 8 to 10 is good. See, it went all the way through the toolie wall right there, and I'm twitching it through, coming right through all of those. This is something a bass does not often see. You know, out on the Delta, some guys fish flukes, but it's not very rare that they're using a spinning rod and skipping flukes through these toolies. So you're obviously going to be showing them something that they're not often seen. So if they're on shad and you see bait fish bust in, or you see a lot of birds around, this is a great technique to do in and around the toolies. Well, that was time's up for the hard bait. I was showing you an example with the soft fluke. So let's stick with this and let's see what happens, because we got a few more toolies to go down the way here. I was working the soft plastic jerk bait back, and I had about a 3.5 pounder blow up on it, and he took it down. As soon as I went to put the hooks on him, the hook set. I felt tension, but never hooked that fish. And that's a key example of, you know, I stopped right here because there was birds. It's a key example of hookup ratio. If that would have been a jerk bait with 3 treble hooks on it, you know that would have been a different story. One of those hooks would have most likely stuck that fish. Now, yeah, there is a chance that maybe not, but the odds are in favor to that fish would have been hooked. But at the same time, I was twitching this jerk bait probably within an inch or 2 of the surface like a wake bait, and I didn't have a jerk bait that runs this shallow. So maybe that fish wouldn't have struck it down 3 foot deep, but he would have struck it near the surface. So food for thought. All right, the time round out on the soft jerk bait. They keep hitting it, but they are just not getting it. We're going back to the monster bass jerk bait, and then we're gonna throw a little, you know what? I think I'm gonna throw the little jerk bait first on the finesse stick. This is a little balsa I got like a month or 2 ago in a Lucky Tackle Box. This is gonna match the size of the shad that are really working in here. Yeah, little baby striper on the little balsa. Oh, we got the right species. We got us a huge bass. 6-pounder. Ah, foul hook striper. On that little balsa though. Oh no, he got a hook in the mouth. I'm legal. Yeah, see, there's a hook in the mouth there. Go 12 inches. No, he's close. We might have our second keeper bass of the day. They have just not been behaving for the jerk bait. Nah, he's short. But still, you know, the better fish so far have been hitting the fluke. They're just not getting it well. So maybe during the evening, we started at just before noon. So we definitely didn't hit a prime time, but we'll see. You know, they still got time. If that big fish would have stuck, we wouldn't have been so upset. But small fish getting a lot of bites. The stripers have been fun. I'm having a good time, and kind of figuring something out right here that they just don't want to commit too much to the soft plastic jerkbait today. The stripers didn't have a problem with it, but the largemouth are striking very weird Fluke fish. Finally, got us a little keeper bass on a soft jerk bait. Nothing special, man. The better fish definitely don't seem to want a jerk bait today. Anytime the stripers are around, it's I'm getting a lot of stripers, but every now and then you get a good mixed bag, but just doesn't seem to be the deal today. It's usually just stripers. Had to get away from the stripers to actually find a bass. Usually in the fall, you can get that mixed bag, but it's not happening. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, there we go. Got desperate, had to take out the drop shot. All right, guys, we're back in my studio now. Now, what I really hoped you picked up from this is there really isn't a comparable. You know, your soft flukes, like a big Magnum right there, the junior size, the normal medium size right around 4 inches. That's going to appeal to a different size fish, just like smaller jerk baits and bigger jerk baits alike. Now, what you probably did notice is with the soft jerkbait style, the fluke style bait right there, your weedless ability, your ability to make it jump out of the surface and look like a fleeing fish. Most of the time it's Texas rigged with a hook, but you can also nose hook them if you're not getting a lot of hookups. Or in the bottom, when that Texas rig comes out, you can put a treble hook over it and rig it back into the body and create a trap hook. If you want to present the soft jerk bait, if they're not hitting a hard jerk bait, you want to present a soft one, you can rig a treble hook on the bottom, or you can nose hook it as well to increase your hookup ratio. The shallow jerk baits like this here, fantastic if you're fishing shallow water or they're still chasing your bait fish or your bait fish are starting to die off. If you're in a clear reservoir and they're on smaller shad, you could throw deep divers. You know, if they're on bigger shad, you could throw even a deeper diver like a Stacy 190 right here. There are so many options in both categories, from deep diving, shallow running. The hard jerkbait in the wintertime is going to beat that soft jerkbait. But in the summertime, the soft jerkbait can take it at times, especially when there's a lot of grass and vegetation around. Hopefully you guys picked up a lot of extra tips from this and maybe look at it a little bit different. We greatly appreciate you guys watching here at Lucky Tackle Box, and we'll see you next time.